Hello and welcome to this video where we will explore how to implement PWM in VHDL. We will also be using the Vivado software for simulation. I will walk you through the code step by step and we will understand how it generates a PWM signal using a very simple and efficient approach. So let us see the learning outcomes of this video. So we will understand the fundamentals of pulse width modulation. We will also learn how to generate a triangular wave in VHDL and use it as a reference signal. We will implement PWM in VHDL and finally we will analyze the PWM signal behavior. So we all know that pulse modulation can be of different types. We are already aware about the pulse amplitude modulation. So here we can see that this MT is the information signal or the message signal. This CT is the carrier signal which consists of several pulses, and finally this PT is the pulse amplitude modulation signal. So we can see that the amplitude of the pulses is getting varied. So in CT the amplitude of the pulses was constant, but in PT, which is the pulse amplitude modulation signal, the amplitude of the pulses is varied according to this MT, where MT is your information signal. So the next type of PWM is pulse modulation is PWM. Here we can see that the width of the pulses is varied. So here we can see that this pulse is of large width compared to this pulse where the width of the pulse is small, because here the amplitude of the message signal is also small and here the amplitude of the message signal is large. So in PWM the width of the pulses is varied according to the modulating signal or the information signal. So we can have different types of PWM. We have leading edge PWM, we have trailing edge PWM, and we have dual edge PWM, which is the combination of both the leading edge and trailing edge. So here in the leading edge PWM we can see that the leading edge of the pulses, so this is the leading edge which is the front edge and the trailing edge is the last edge. So the leading edge of the pulse is modulated while the trailing edge is kept fixed, and it uses a negative sawtooth waveform. So we can see that this sawtooth waveform is going from high to low, so it is a negative sawtooth waveform and the leading edge is modulated. So here we can see that the last edge or the trailing edge is fixed. So here also it is fixed, here also it is fixed, here also it is fixed, but the position of the leading edge is getting changed according to the information signal. So here the information signal was of large magnitude, so the width of the pulse was also large. Here the information signal was of small magnitude, so the width of the pulse was also small. Then we have the trailing edge PWM. So in the trailing edge PWM it uses a positive sawtooth waveform. So we can see that this sawtooth waveform goes from 0 to high, 0 to high, 0 to high, and the leading edge of the pulses is fixed. So we can see that this leading edge, this leading edge, this leading edge, this leading edge, all the leading edges are fixed, where the trailing edge is modulated. So here we can see that the trailing edge, it occurs here, but here the trailing edge occurs here. So the width of the pulse is getting varied according to the information signal. So the leading edge is the fixed edge and trailing edge is the moving edge. So how the trailing edge PWM works? So we have a carrier waveform which is a triangular waveform. It is compared to the reference signal or our modulating signal, which we also call as information signal. At the start of each cycle the output is set to high, and finally the output transitions to low when the carrier signal exceeds the reference signal. So let us go into Vivado and we will see the VHDL code that we have written for implementing this PWM. So now we are in the Vivado. So we can see that this is the VHDL code for implementing PWM. So here we have this signal underscore kush. This is the information signal. It is of 16 bits. We have the carrier signal again of 16 bits, and we have the PWM signal. So this is our entity. So we are using the information signal, we are using the carrier signal, and finally we are generating the PWM output. So here I have declared a signal as signal underscore KR. So it stores the unsigned value of the signal underscore push. And finally we have this, I have created one more signal PWM underscore sig. So it generates the PWM output. It is initialized to 0. So here finally we convert this signal underscore push to an unsigned value and assign it to signal underscore KR. So in the process block we have basically two process blocks. So first process block, we convert we compare the information signal with the carrier wave. So if the information signal is greater than the carrier signal, then we assign the PWM underscore sig, which is the PWM output, equal to 1. Otherwise it is equal to 0. So this block is used for generating your PWM signal. And finally we have another process block. This process block will generate your sawtooth wave according to the clock. So if the rising edge of the clock comes and if the carrier signal is greater than equal to 30,000, so we are generating the carrier signal with the value from 0 to 29,999, and again it will go to 0. So this is our carrier signal. And finally we assign the KR underscore sig, CR underscore sig to carrier underscore signal, and PWM underscore sig to PWM underscore output. So this is a very simple code. We are using two process block. One process block is for comparing your information signal with carrier wave. Other process block is to generate the sawtooth wave. So let us run the simulation. So this is our simulation block. So first we will assign the clock signal. So force clock, leading edge value is 1, trailing edge value is 0. Click on OK. So let us see what happens. And we have to assign this as a analog signal. So let me zoom out a bit so you can see what is happening. So as you can see, we are successfully generating a sawtooth carrier wave using the clock signal. Now we will see what happens when we assign the information signal value. So again we will constant unsigned decimal to be of 1000. So let us start with a small value. So here we can see that a very small PWM signal is generated. Now let us change to the higher value. Let us give the value as 2500. Again we will run. So we can see that now the width of the PWM here, this width is more compared to this width. Again let us change it to a more bigger value. Let us take it to be 10,000. So remember that the maximum value of the carrier signal is 30,000. So here we can see that now the pulse width is even further. If we increase it more, let us take it to be 20,000 of unsigned decimal. So we can see that now the pulse width is even bigger. So we can see that first when we choose the signal was 1000, then the pulse width was small, but here when we choose the signal value as 20,000, the pulse width is more. So the pulse width is varied according to the signal information signal. So this is the video. Thank you. Please like and share the video and subscribe the channel for more content on Xilinx, Vivado and VLSI, and also on